Hey everybody, welcome to the Real Results Show. Thank you for joining us. We have a free resource for you today. Make sure to drop the word results into the chat, and we are going to send you that link for our free resource. And we would love to know where you are joining us from today, so make sure to drop that in the chat as well. We were having some technical difficulties, so I want to make sure that we are okay. If you can't see us, let us know. We know we were having some issues today. So welcome to the Real Results Show, where we feature real health coaches and real health practitioners getting real results for their clients and for themselves. I am your host, Piper Gibson, Director of Course Enrollment, and I am super excited to have with me Christian Yordanov today. He is joining me from Portugal, so we've had some great people from all around the world. So how are you today, Christian?
Great, Piper. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I am so excited to have you today, and our topic is going to be children's health. So I'm really excited to get into this with you and kind of talk about how you got into FDN. So Christian, tell me what prompted you to become an FDN?
So I actually stumbled on the course maybe 6 months before I signed up. I was listening to the Bulletproof podcast, and I heard Reed on there. I was going through the backlog. It was quite a while ago that Reed was on the podcast, and I started listening to Reed. And the first thing it was the sound of his voice. I wasn't really listening to the content of what he was saying, just the sound of his voice, and he sounded really genuine, right? So I started, listening about underlying roots of conditions and issues. So that prompted me to start researching that a bit more. I was heavily into nutrition, but from that moment on, I started looking more into biochemistry and the gut and how it affects health. So I kept, checking back with the course, looking at the curriculum and salivating at all the stuff on the curriculum. You get to learn about the HPA axis, about gut dysfunction, gut bacteria. So at the time, I was like, I'd signed up to a couple of other courses, and I was, again, health coaching related, but not so in depth. So at one point, it was in January last year. At one point, I was like, I'm halfway through this course. I've barely done a third of the other course. I keep coming back here. I just signed up just like that. And I thought, I knew the next day I'll have some buyer's remorse or regret or stuff like that. Nope. Never looked back after that. Not a single shred of regret, basically.
That's awesome. And that is fantastic to hear, because that's absolutely how I feel about FDN as well. So tell me, when did you graduate and how long did it take you to get through the course?
Okay. Actually, so just to add to the previous question, I forgot to say, so part of what really drew me to the course was there was a lot of chronic, obviously everybody's family is affected by chronic disease, but there's chronic disease in my family. My mother was suffering for about 13 years with IBS. My granny had atherosclerosis, strokes, other issues, all sorts of issues. So I saw that they were taking medications or they're being prescribed things, and they were not really fruitful, if you know what I mean. So that really prompted me to see. I knew the body can't be that fragile, and I had to. I saw the FDN curriculum, and I thought I might get some real answers into kind of why we actually get sick in the first place, right? So I just wanted to add that because I feel like I lost my train of thought. I was a bit nervous, But to answer your next question, I signed up in January last year. It was the 31st of January, if I recall correctly, and I had my last exam with Brandon on the 8th of May. So February, March, April, 3 months and a few days, basically. I flew through the course.
Fantastic. Yeah. So how do you plan on building your practice? Let's talk a little bit more about how you're building that.
Right. So the exact day that I graduated, as soon as I could, I had a stool test ordered for my mother. So she was basically my first client, if you want to call her that. So just to kind of fast forward, 8 months later now, or even in January, she tells me, so she every time she ate food, it hurt somewhere in the gut area, right? So we did the stool test, the food sensitivity stuff, the hair test, all the kind of what she could do at the time, given her region of the world. We don't have the same accessibility of tests as in the US, unfortunately. But we did what we could, and she told me last month, because of this coronavirus stuff, how everyone is looking for more immune support. She tells me before, maybe let's say May, June last year, most foods she would eat, she would feel a pain somewhere. Now she can eat raw garlic, and she
Wow.
doesn't. It's amazing, right?
Totally
So,
amazing. That's fantastic results.
and that's after a few months, a few tests, a few supplements, some dietary changes. So to get back to your question, before I digress again, how am I building my practice? So at first, obviously, after I started working with my mom, the first thing I did is start talking to friends, family, anyone who has any complaint or would like to optimize their health. And I just started offering whoever would like to run some tests. um, I was all ears to listen to them, run the forms, kind of see what potential issues they might have. So I ran a bunch, and I mean a bunch of hair tests on friends. We ran some food sensitivity panels. So this is just kind of to basically get word out there for me. At the same time, writing little kind of guides. So I wrote a couple of, or actually not little guides. One was about 30 pages, one was 60 pages, just to kind of have a lead magnet on my website. Just I suppose it sounds the basic logical process to me now, but I did a lot of kind of study using the FDN-P resources, other resources. I kind of saw what the logical progression is. So as soon as you graduate, the first thing you need to do is obviously create your infrastructure, your website, your email, facility to collect emails, to book free consultations, things like that. So I did those things. The next thing that I did is those guides to kind of give an incentive to people to kind of connect with me. I ran some Facebook ads, got about 80 subscribers on one of my lists, and all at the same time, just continuing to work with whoever would work with me for free initially, right? And after a while, it just turned into. In fact, I should mention I also wrote a book in the last since basically I've been working on a book that I just published 2 weeks ago, on autism, and I published that book. And the day I published that book, people came, quote unquote, out of the woodwork, not related to the topic of the book, but they were like, I've been following the videos and the articles you've been posting. I want to talk to you. So this is kind of my strategy. First, build my experience working with anybody that would like to work with me, right? I completely do not discriminate anybody that would like to work with me. And then gradually building my credibility and my experience. And listen, obviously, sorry, I know I'm kind of throwing all sorts of different ideas. The other thing that really helped me, I was listening to the FDN support podcast even before I signed up for the course, and that was a huge benefit in terms of learning not just the FDN process, not just how to investigate issues, but also how to think about selling the benefits with working with us to the clients or potential clients, and explaining to them the value. Because I think, especially in Europe, there's a large gap in terms of the public is not educated enough. So this is I've taken this mission in terms of educating them by publishing resources, publishing a book. Obviously, that's a big one, and I've taken it to almost. I'm trying to create the demand for the FDN by educating people on the value that we can provide.
Let's talk a little bit about the FDN community. How do you feel the FDN community has supported you in your business and even, your health endeavors, the people that you're working with?
I mean, it's been great. Like, I joined. In fact, I don't know how, but I think I joined. I somehow I sent an email to join the AFDN-P, and it slipped through the cracks before I even graduated. So I was part of the AFDN-P a month before I graduated. So even then, I mean, there was an abundance of courses of all kinds, right? So if you're the kind of person that likes courses, there is probably more than than one person can consume in a very long time. But I think just asking random questions that popped up as I was working with kind of family, friends, and even my first few clients, especially my first few clients, because there's obviously it's a step up. It's almost a quantum leap, even though it's the same set of circumstances. You can be a bit more nervous, but like every time I've asked the question, pretty much I've had at least one or two really, really insightful answers. So that, to me, that alone is just, it's kind of like having your own personal Q&A consultant on a topic you need for your work, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So I think that's been tremendous. Yeah.
Awesome. So let's really talk about your niche, your ideal client. Who are you really focusing on? Who are you working with?
Right. So at the moment, the book that I published was about autism. It's called Autism Wellbeing Plan: How to Get Your Child Healthy. So my ideal niche, we say niche in Europe, but my ideal niche is basically families that are affected with autism. So what I discovered through my own family being affected by autism, right? So this is how it all started. But I did a ton of research, scientific research, and I was talking to a bunch of parents with autistic kids, and I was part of several Facebook groups, and I see the pain that these folks are going through on a daily basis, and their kids are suffering. So it prompted me to do some research and go through the scientific literature, and I discovered that in general, autistic kids they just tend to suffer from a lot of health issues, and on their own they might not seem very serious, but combined they can create a lot of, as we say, metabolic chaos, in FDN. So my niche is basically families with kids with ASD mainly, right? And what I like to, especially with my book, is what I like to teach them is basically how to use functional lab tests, diet, obviously a healthy organic diet, and supplementation, some sleep strategies, basically the FDN process, except the dress process, except you kind of really, the E for exercise, there's not really a place there. So it's kind of, kids naturally take care of that. So that's right. My niche, and that's kind of how I've been focusing on.
Fantastic. I have the same niche. I also work with families of kids with ASD, anxiety, all of those kinds of things. So that's really my focus as well. And so I really relate to that. And what I want to talk to you about is, how are you using the lab testing with that particular set of clients?
Well, the beauty of the lab tests we run is that they are very much non-invasive. So they're easy to collect. And I'm talking about here particularly things like the stool test, the organic acids test, which is a simple urine collection, and hair testing is another inexpensive, and really there's so many insights that can be gleaned from a hair test. So I think for most kids that's a really good baseline. Of course if the parents can do for example a blood spot food sensitivity test, like from the Great Plains lab, if they can get that in, it's another simple, easy test, a few drops of blood on a piece of paper, super easy. So I suppose because of the ease of use and the clinical utility of those tests, I think it's a complete game changer, especially things like the organic acids test. As you probably know, Piper, autistic kids, They have candida
Mm-hmm.
a lot. They have Clostridia bacteria a lot. They have generally high oxalates are an issue. Occasionally, there's fungal, mold, toxicity. So all of these things the oat can tell us. And a hair test, again, it's for 45, $55. A lot. This is through my research. I've discovered this. A lot of autistic kids. In fact, the most common biochemical imbalance in autistic kids is an elevated copper,
Mm-hmm.
low zinc. So this is again something
Yeah.
that you can glean from a hair test. So I think it's a complete game changer, and we can really, with those tests and some basic supplementation, dietary modifications, sleep hygiene modifications, like the quality of life improvement, not just for the children but for the families that we can help them, get that quality of life. It's unparalleled.
Yes, Chris, 100%. No, I love those tests as well because they're just not invasive. You can get some hair, you can get a urine sample, you can get a stool sample. You're not really poking and prodding. I do also love a finger prick food sensitivity
Mm.
test. I think it gives us a lot of answers, but I could not agree with you more about the fact that when you can help these kids to get back on the healing path to start to feeling better, it totally changes the
Yeah,
dynamic of the families as well.
yeah. And the other thing is, um, most of these imbalances, through my research, I read I think almost 1,000 scientific papers in the second half of last year, Piper, and most of those imbalances have been found in in studies to correlate with autism severity.
Mm-hmm.
So it's to me it's an absolute game changer. The quality of life improvements we can help.
Yes, absolutely. So tell me a little bit about how you work. Are you full time? Are you part time? Do you work in person, virtually?
It's all virtual, and I have a feeling it will be even more so in the next few months. Um, yeah, it's part time for me now. I was full time. I was actually full time and part time since July, just focusing on the book. So I spent most days 12, sometimes up to 14 hours working on researching and writing the book. So now that that's behind me and published, I'll be working on promoting the book, of course, which is again a part-time job. But I'll be focusing more on putting content out, kind of this kind of content marketing strategy. So I'll just be adding value. I'll be redesigning my website, adding value, kind of, so people can glean a lot of it. And this is again, um, the whole point is to educate people of the value of running the test, right? And I'm hoping to, over the next year, to go full time completely. That's
Awesome.
that's
So
the plan.
I want to say thank you everybody who is joining us right now. If you were just joining us, I am talking to Christian Yordanov, and he is telling us about children's health, and it's a fantastic conversation. If you are just joining us, make sure to drop the word results, and we are going to send you our 3-step guide to getting real results for you and your clients. And I would love for you to tell us how our listeners can get in touch with you. Website, social media, email, how can they reach you?
Well, this is gonna be difficult, but my website is myname.com. So it's Christian, like the religion, Yordanov, Yordanov.com. So it's christianyordanov.com is my website, and you can use that name. It's fairly unique. You can find me on Facebook. I'm on Twitter as well. So whoever can spell it, I hope you can. Please, if anyone has any questions about the course, or if they want to get on a quick 15-minute call to discuss it, if I can, help them kind of make the right decision for them, see if it's kind of the right time. Because to be honest, I think it's not the right time for everybody. It's not for everybody. I think you need to have a strong desire to help people, right? So this was my underlying thing. I've always, since I was a kid, I've always wanted to help people in some capacity. I even at one point in my life thought about should I kind of go to medical school and become a doctor. I've always wanted to do something like that. So yeah, if anyone has any questions, they can shoot me an email, or there's a contact form on my website. So
fantastic. Do you have a number one tip or tool, resource, or piece of info that you have learned from FDN that has really made all the difference in maybe your personal health or somebody that you're working with?
Just one. Just one. So I don't know. For me, it was, I cannot explain what a game changer the course was, because the very first test, because I'm in Europe, we had to do the Dutch test on me for the first test, right? So for those listening, it's the Dutch test is a comprehensive hormone panel. So your sex hormones and your cortisol stress hormones and a few other things. So when we ran that test last year I got the results in March, about this time last year, and my testosterone, I felt okay, don't get me wrong. My testosterone was lower. It was below the range for a 65-year-old man.
Wow.
Now, let that sink in for a second. Yeah.
That's wild.
In fact, I called the Precision Analytical personally, and I said, could this be an error? I was shocked, right? So I got on a call with Brandon to talk about. Sorry, no, it was with Christy that I did my R&R with Christy. And she recommended to do a stool test, right? So I did a stool test the next thing, and then a month later I got the results, and I had 2 parasites, Blastocystis hominis and Giardia.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I had Candida. I had 3 or 4 other opportunistic / pathogenic bacteria, and I got on a call with Brendan, and he told me, he gave me some strategies, some herbs, and he told me about the gallbladder flush. So the next thing I started researching the gallbladder flush. I got these amazing Amazon herbs, 10 herbs from the Amazon jungle that help with parasites. I started doing that, biocidin, and I did like maybe 3 or 4 or 5 gallbladder flushes, and oh my God, and then I was doing hair tests the whole time, and just the amount of heavy metals, mercury and aluminum, especially, I was excreting. So I think for me, the game changer was seeing my own biomarkers on paper. I think this was the biggest, because I was doing okay. I was fine. I was feeling fine. I was doing intermittent fasting. I was working out. I was, doing keto, cyclical keto. I was doing paleo, organic. Everything was amazing. But I did those tests, and then I started looking back with, wait, I was going to bed at 9:30 the winter. That was a bit early. I was kind of sleepy. I was drinking 4 cups of coffee a day.
Oh, wow.
That was key. So seeing your own biochemistry on paper is profound, basically. That was the number one thing, is learning what it all means, of course.
Yes. I had a very similar experience. I felt really good, and I went through the course and I did the hormone test, and I was like, ooh, wow, those are not really what I expected. So yeah, it's definitely an eye opener, even if you're somebody who's like, I'm perfectly fine, I'm super healthy.
There's always something. There's always some imbalance there that you could be even more, optimal is a spectrum. I think a lot of people, here's the thing, a lot of people, they prop themselves up with coffee, with kind of sugar, etc., stimulating themselves, and they don't realize how much better they can feel. And I didn't realize how much better I can feel, basically.
Yeah, I think so. And I see people all the time that come in, they don't feel good. We look at some stuff on paper. We come up with a whole body plan, and we just kind of do the dress protocol, and they will come back in and be like, I didn't realize I felt so bad. So it's always fantastic, and you feel like, yes, like we made some awesome progress.
So it's so difficult to pinpoint one thing. I mean, every time I speak to, or not just speak, but listen to the two Brendans, I mean, these guys blow my mind. Like,
yeah, super knowledgeable in so many areas.
like again, speechless. I have nothing to add, actually. Yeah.
Do you have a piece of advice for health coaches or professionals who might be watching right now?
I think the piece of advice I would give is you have to give 100%. It's not easy to break through in the industry, but that's a good thing, because if it was easy, then it wouldn't be worth it. So I think hard work. There's no shortcuts. I don't think in this game. You can't really get lucky. You need to know your stuff. You need to build relationships, and you need to show. I think building word of mouth is probably one of the best marketing strategies for this kind of service. So there's no shortcuts to that at all.
Agree. What about people who are out there who might be struggling to get results with their health? Is there a piece of advice you'd like to share with them?
Yeah, I think the number one thing is to learn what functional lab tests can do for you. I think this is the game changer that we need to educate the public on. Yeah.
Awesome. One more time, tell everybody how they can find you.
So my name is Christian Yordanov, Yordanov, ChristianYordanov.com. So that's my website. Same name for Twitter and Facebook. And yeah, if anyone wants to drop me a line, more than welcome to.
Christian, thank you so much for being on the show today to share insights with others on how to get real long-term and sustainable health results for themselves and for their clients.
My pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you.
For those of you who are ready to become true health detectives like Christian, and so that you can help others on a deeper level, you can schedule a call with one of the FDN course counselors at functionaldiagnosticnutrition.com/counselor. If you are ready to enroll, you can go to functionaldiagnosticnutrition.com/FB, Facebook, FB Live. And if you are watching the replay or you've just joined us, drop the word results, and we are going to send you the 3-step guide to getting real results for you and your clients. I will be back next week with another Real Results show. And thank you again, Christian, for joining me. It was a great conversation.
My pleasure, Piper. Thank you.
Thank you.